विद्यार्थी मित्रो, याच्या अगोदरच्या पिरियडमध्ये आपण जनरली देर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ द केमिकल रिॲक्शनचा स्टडी केलेला आहे. जनरल टाईपचा स्टडी जनरल एक्झाम्पलने आपण एक्सप्लेन केलेला आहे. देर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ द केमिकल रिॲक्शन विच विल बी डिपेंड्स अपॉन द नेचर अँड दी number of the reactants and products. The first type of the chemical reaction is the combination reaction. When we take the magnesium ribbon and it is placed on the burner, at this time magnesium will be burned and the white residue is formed. That means if there is there are two or more substances, two or more reactants are combined together, there is the formation of a only single product. That type of the reaction is known as the combination reaction. When we balance the magnesium with oxygen, when magnesium is burned in the presence of the oxygen, the white residue is formed and there is the formation of the MgO. That means for balancing this, take the coefficient of the magnesium is 2, it will get 2MgO. That means in this reaction, two reactants combined together and only single product is formed. Due to this reason, that type of the reaction is known as the combination reaction. Second, decomposition reaction. Decomposition means what? A single substance is split up into two or more substances, and that type of the chemical reaction is known as the decomposition reaction. For example, calcium carbonate. When we take the single reactant, when we burn the calcium carbonate, there is the formation of the calcium oxide and plus carbon dioxide is formed. That means two products are formed. When we provide the heat to the calcium carbonate, there is the breaking bond between the calcium and carbonate, and there is the formation of the calcium oxide and carbon dioxide is formed. That means in it only single reactant is split up into two or more substances. The third type is the displacement reaction. What do you mean by displacement reaction? In this reaction, when copper sulfate react with the zinc, but before this first we discuss about the copper is a less reactive metal as compared to the zinc, and when that means copper sulfate is the compound of the copper and it is in contact with the zinc. At this time, zinc displaces the copper from its compound. That type of the chemical reaction is known as the displacement reaction. Means what? Zinc sulfate plus copper is formed. Zinc is more reactive as compared to the copper. Therefore, zinc displaces the copper from its compound. That type of the chemical reaction is known as the displacement reaction. That means, what is the definition of the displacement reaction? A chemical reaction in which the more reactive element or more reactive metal displace the less reactive metal from its compound. That type of the chemical reaction is known as the displacement reaction. What do you mean by double displacement reaction? Barium, for example, the example of the double displacement reaction is barium chloride plus zinc sulfate, where there is the exchange of the ions, metallic ions, exchange of the ions and precipitate is formed in the product. That type of the chemical reaction is known as the double displacement reaction. A chemical reaction in which there is the exchange of the ions and formation of the product in the form of the precipitate. That type of the chemical reaction is known as the double displacement reaction. The example is BaSO4 barium sulfate plus zinc chloride. There is the formation of the zinc chloride. That means that type of the reaction is known as the double displacement reaction. Sometimes in this reaction there is the necessity of the heat. Sometimes heat will be given out. म्हणजे ते आपला टाईप अभ्यासायचा आहे, एक्झोधर्मिक आणि एंडोधर्मिक. कधी कधी या रिॲक्शनमध्ये आपण इथे हीट प्रोव्हाइड केलेली आहे, मग त्यात विच विल बी डिपेंड्स अपॉन द हीट, एक्झोधर्मिक अँड एंडोधर्मिक, ते टाईप आपण नंतर पाहणारच आहोत. पण जनरली डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द नेचर अँड नंबर ऑफ द रिॲक्टंट्स अँड प्रॉडक्ट्स, देर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ द केमिकल रिॲक्शन. फर्स्ट इज द कॉम्बिनेशन रिॲक्शन. That means, what do you mean by combination? a reaction in which when two or more substances combine together to form a single product, that type of the chemical reaction is known as the combination reaction. Second is the decomposition reaction. A chemical reaction in which there is the splitting of a single substance is converted into the two or more substances or two substances, two products. That type of the chemical reaction is known as the decomposition. But in it, heat is necessary. And the chemical reaction in which the heat is necessary, that chemical reaction is also known as the thermal chemical reaction, thermal decomposition reaction. पण आपण पुढच्या एक्झाम्पलमध्ये पुढच्या टाईपमध्ये हे पाहणार आहोत. पण जनरली हे 4 टाईप नेचर आणि नंबरवर आहेत. द थर्ड टाईप इज द डिस्प्लेसमेंट विच विल बी डिपेंड्स अपॉन द मोर रिॲक्टिव्ह एलिमेंट. अ केमिकल रिॲक्शन इन विच द मोर रिॲक्टिव्ह एलिमेंट और मोर रिॲक्टिव्ह मेटल डिस्प्लेस द लेस रिॲक्टिव्ह एलिमेंट और मेटल फ्रॉम इट्स कंपाऊंड. इथं लेस रिॲक्टिव्ह मेटल आहे कॉपर, त्याचं कंपाऊंड आहे कॉपर सल्फेट. मग अशा वेळेस झिंक आहे मोर रिॲक्टिव्ह ॲज कम्पेअर टू द कॉपर. मग झिंक काय करतो, कॉपरला हकलून देतो आणि त्याच्या जागी जाऊन बसतो. अशी जी रिॲक्शन असेल तेव्हा त्याला म्हणायचं डिस्प्लेसमेंट रिॲक्शन. आणि डबल डिस्प्लेसमेंट, इथं एक्सचेंज ऑफ दी आयन्स अँड प्रेसिपिटेट इज फॉर्म. वेअर इन दिस एक्झाम्पल द प्रेसिपिटेट इज फॉर्म, बेरियम सल्फेट इज फॉर्म precipitate. That means precipitate means what? It is not dissolved in a water, not aqueous form मध्ये असेल, म्हणजे insoluble असेल. A chemical reaction in which there is the exchange of the ions in the reactant and precipitate is formed in the product, that type of the chemical reaction is known as the double displacement reaction. आपल्याला हे प्रॅक्टिकली घेता येईल पण इथं शक्य नाही आहे. मला याच्यामध्ये सांगायचं आहे की कधी कधी याच्यामध्ये हीट ॲब्सॉर्बही करावं लागेल, हीट गिव्हन आउटही करावं लागेल. अशा वेळेस त्यांची नावं थर्मल रिॲक्शनमध्ये घेता येतील किंवा एक्झोधर्मिक, एंडोधर्मिक हे आपण एक्झाम्पलनुसार एक्सप्लेन करणार आहोत. आणि टुडे स्टॉप हिअर.